And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. But by this time the boat, battered by the waves, was far from the land, for the wind was against them. And early in the morning he came walking toward them on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified, saying, "It is a ghost!" And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them and said, "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid." Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat, started walking on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he noticed the strong wind, he became frightened and began to sink. He cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" When they got in the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." First, we need some background information. Right before this narrative, we see that Jesus has shown us what the kingdom of God is like when he took the little resources he had available and fed more than 5,000 people who had nowhere to go get food. But now he's telling his disciples to go out onto the Sea of Galilee in their fishing boat while he goes up to the mountain to pray. But a lot of times when people read this, it gets misinterpreted or misunderstood. People seem to think that, oh, if you only had a little more faith, you could have been able to do this, or you're like Peter trying to walk on water and you sink because you had little faith. But it's not to be interpreted that way. There's much more to it. But we have to remember that Matthew was writing to the first century church. So this is post-resurrection. So there's a lot of symbolism that Matthew uses to get his point across for us to understand what he was getting across to us. Now this happens to be one of my favorite narratives because we see they're on this boat in the middle of the night and it's this raging storm. Now, I don't know if you know what a first century boat looked like. It was about 100 foot long, made completely out of wood, about knee deep, and one big mast with one sail. And they're in this boat, and the waves are crashing, and they're all scared, and probably sick to their stomach. I'd be sick, I get seasick. And then they just see this figure walking on the water. Now, I don't blame them. I'd be scared too, thinking it was a ghost. But then they notice it's Jesus and Peter. Good old Peter. You gotta love Peter. Sit there saying, "Jesus, if that is you, prove it." Now, Peter, he's this funny character where he's like the leader of all the disciples, but he has like the least spaced out of all of them. Until later on his mission. But Jesus says, "Okay, Peter, come to me." So Peter gets out the boat. He's says, Peter, you have little faith. Why did you doubt me? So, and then they go back on the boat and the whole storm just stops. Find my place in my notes. So what do we have to learn from Peter's attempt to walk on water? First, we have to realize that Jesus came to the disciples, overcoming the evil and chaos that surrounded them in the storm of the Sea of Galilee. He identified himself with the very words that God used to identify himself to Moses at the burning bush, saying, "It is I," but in Greek it's "I am." And then Peter in his test, showing his lack of faith. But I'm sure we could all identify with Peter. I mean, if somebody told you to get out of the boat and walk and come to them, would you do it? I know I wouldn't. I'd be too scared. I just don't like water to begin with. But Peter is this funny character because he did it anyway, knowing that he needed this test because he knew Jesus was left behind on the shore when he went to go pray. But he lived 3 miles out. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and they just see him appear. Then Peter quickly discovered who he was and passed his little test. So how does this apply to us today? One of the good news is that Jesus is waiting for us wherever he calls us to go. He's going to be there. He's not going to send us someplace he knows we can't handle or deal with the situation. And he surrounds us with loving faith family who's there to support us 100% with every decision we make. Through our mission work that we do through the community. So recap real quick. I'm trying to keep this short because of training. And so wasn't where I wanted to go, and God just kind of had me go a different way at 2 o'clock this morning. So it's really short today. But recap is that we learned that Jesus does not send us into the water, and he wants us to go out there, but we're not going to do it alone. And we also know that Jesus is always interceding for us with the Father and at the darkest hour, when the darkest hours come to us. But the real danger comes when we try and step out of the boat